Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for episode 161 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. I am the host, Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and I'm joined by my co-hosts,
George Breden
and James Fitzgerald.
In this episode, we dive into the buzz around Ryan Dancey of AEG and his not-so-recent comments on AI and board gaming, tackle the big question, what actually defines a classic board game, share our full reviews of Luthier and Stephens, all that and much more. Enjoy the show. Speaking of AI, how'd you like that AI generated intro?
It was great.
I literally just put in our topics and I said, can you give me a cool way to announce this? I mean, I could have came into that, but I wouldn't have used the word buzz. Yes, it is buzz, though. We'll get into the news. Obviously, I know my podcast come out a little bit not timely. So I like our podcast to be more about archival information. You want to know our opinions on a game? You can check out that episode. You want to know our opinions on a topic, that's everlasting, like what's a classic board game? It doesn't matter if you listen to it now or 6 months from now.
We're timeless.
So we are timeless. I try not to do a lot of news things, but this time we got something fun to say. And it's only because I wanted to be a precursor into what we're going to talk about on a future episode, which is AI art. We'll have my brother on who's been in the art director business for 16 years. He's been an artist for many, many, many more than that. Probably, I would say at least 40 years and 40. I don't know how that sounded when I said it. In my mind, I was like 4.
It came across as 40.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him about it. That'll be really interesting to see his opinion on AI.
Yeah. I think it's interesting just as a spoiler alert from my perspective. I think a lot of people have differences of opinions in AI when it comes to board games. And then there's the reality that AI is going to crush everything, and it's unfortunate. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's already making big splashes in a lot of industries. You can use it to your advantage, or you can, deny its existence and basically be left behind. So It is what it is. We can't change it. Adapt, right?
You have to, yeah.
But we'll come back into that. So one thing we're going to talk about is recently we went to Gamma, so we can kind of go into that real quick, and then we'll talk about what we've been up to. Gamma was a little bit ago at this point when this episode gets released, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Saw lots of cool things. George, what'd you see that was cool there?
So Gamma, they have a lot of upcoming games that different companies try to show off, and they have a lot of educational programs and a lot of sort of insider stuff as well. But I think more and more they're showing off upcoming games, and so that's always the exciting part for me. I was there as part of the St. Paul DEF CON and speaking with people and seeing if they were interested in supporting our DEF convention in St. Paul every year. And we have a raffle and get donations for that. So a lot of good contacts were made. But there are some games I'm really interested in that are up and coming. One is there's a Codenames that is Critical Role Adventures. So it's the game Codenames, but you're playing a character like a role playing game from Critical Role, if you're familiar with that franchise, and then. That's really all I know about it.
I'm so excited by the imagery. I saw that too. It looks pretty cool. I didn't get to talk to anybody about it, but
yeah, I don't quite know how it works. But instead of an assassin, I think there's there's monsters that you turn over, or things happen, and can affect your character, and so you're actually marking things off as you go, and it's just I think it's going to add a whole lot more to a game that everyone already loves. So I think it'll be a really interesting combination.
I hope so. I didn't look into it deeply or anything, but I hope it's not just a Critical Role themed version of Codenames, and it's an actual new version of Codenames. Because it is, you did say it's like Codenames Adventures or something.
Right. Yeah. There's story to it, and the words are themed around Dungeons and Dragons, I suppose, and all that kind of thing. So there is that aspect to it.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's almost like a role-playing game run on the engine of Codenames.
I'll tell you one that I saw that I thought was going to be pretty cool, and it's already made a splash and such, but it's the Mage Knight Emergence expansion standalone. James, did you play Mage Knight, the board game?
I tried to learn it because I heard it was so great at solo, and it was like trying to read a math book, so I just kind of gave up.
Oh, man. You have to come up and play it then, because it is absolutely amazing, but it's effectively a tutorial for the main Mage Knight game.
Oh, well, it needs one because that rulebook is dense.
Yes, even the first scenario is about 2 to 3 hours with 2 players. I mean, it's a rough game to learn. It's a rough game to play, but it is absolutely rewarding and amazing in all aspects. It's a phenomenal game. Well, anyway, the Emergence expansion is I think a 1 to 2 player version of it, because it only adds 2 more characters that you can add to the game. And so when you're playing it, there's these scenarios, but each one adds more to the game. You know, it unlocks new parts of the game. Like, oh, now you can buy from the market, or you can do this or that, you know? And so, like the first scenario just revolves around having like this one combat with an enemy, which combat is absolutely unique in this game. Like, I've never seen combat work the way it does in this. It's fantastic.
Right. So it's not changing anything about the game. It's just teaching you. It's a method of teaching the game. It's
a method to teach you the game.
Interesting.
And when you're done, it adds 2 new characters and all these new scenarios and all these new tiles and everything, and it pads the game more.
Okay.
And so it's fantastic. Like once you're not going to buy this. I mean, you could buy this and just play it, but I think the intent is to buy it, use it as an onboarding process into the main Mage Knight game. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Well, it has to be done. Like the game itself, it is just really forbidding to new players.
It is incredibly crazy. I mean, I think the rule book, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it was like 40 pages or something. And that's before you add the expansions. So it's crazy, but I'm looking really forward to that. What else did you see?
So there is a game coming out that's called Hell of a Deal. And it's a cooperative poker game where you're trying to
Smirk and Dagger.
Yes. Did you see that? I guess you saw it too.
Yeah, Kurt showed me it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm sure you know more about it than I do, but just the idea of the cooperative playing against these various demons and ultimately going up against the devil himself in a game, I think is quite funny. Where I've already seen how much people enjoy co-op poker from the gang, but this is making it into more of a game and into a theme that I think I'll enjoy a lot more.
I asked him about Balatro. I don't know if either of you all played Balatro, the video game.
No, I haven't. No.
Well, it's a roguelike poker game that's a video game, right?
Okay.
And it effectively works in parts of it are the same, but it's a 1-player game. But in that Hell of a Deal, it works slightly different. Like everybody has, their own hand or whatever, and they're trying, but you can actively cheat against the devil because you can't win unless you cheat because he's cheating. So you have to do all this stuff, and the components are fantastic. One of the things that's like a bittersweet, thing is that there's only one copy of the game, or there's not a deluxe version. There is the standard game that you buy, but it's expensive because you have the player mats, you have all the poker chips, you have the really nice card quality.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice.
Kurt was saying, like, if you go and sit down and play poker, you want to get that feeling from the components like you're playing poker.
Yep.
And it's really hard to have chintzy components because it doesn't really feel like Vegas, right? And you want to have that Vegas feel. And it's just necessary to have deluxe version, the only version that exists. And it looks amazing, fantastic, super looking forward to that. Yeah,
it does look good. I think that's the right call. Yeah, that's a good call. So yeah, Hell of a Deal was another. And then, oh gosh, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look up whose game this is. But it's called Drillers, and it's a deck building game where you're drilling down to get resources, and that reminds me very much of a game that I've enjoyed called Super Motherload.
I like that game.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that one. So I'm wondering if this one is going to be similar enough to it, but again, it just has more complexity to it, and sort of expands the game as far as what it appeared to be. Let me look up who actually is making. Oh, it's Czech Games Edition.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do great stuff. So,
another one that I saw that looked fantastic. James, I think this might be up your alley. I'm pretty sure we're all fans of custom heroes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, George? Do you like?
I'm not familiar.
Which is Ruins.
Well,
Allplay reskinned it, called it Ruins.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
The thing about the game is you have cards and you slot these like transparent cards over top of it in the sleeve, and it changes because it adds all these abilities and such. Not that that's a new concept, because Hecatomb did it, I think, first a long time ago. It's a collectible card game, but AEG is coming out with another game called Misfit Heroes, and I don't quite remember it. It kind of reminds me of like a game like Castle Combo, where it's like a smaller card game, but every card is in a sleeve, and you put the transparent cards over top of it, but only during setup. And so like between the times that you play the game, you can rearrange all the cards, and then every card in your game is completely different. So like it'd be like playing a small card game like Castle Combo. That's the closest one I can associate it with. The gameplay isn't necessarily the exact same as that. But what I'm saying is, if you have a deck of 50 cards and you come over to my house, I have all the cards rearranged to where it's like, oh man, in our game, this character has this power, or this character has these bonuses and stuff. And now everything. So like if you play it 3 or 4 times, you can take all the cards out, rearrange all the cards, and then start playing it again. And now everything is going to work different. Well, that card's not as powerful anymore, but it's cheap, or this. And so like, that was just fantastic to me. I like the idea of this ability to change the gameplay and add replayability. Now, I'm sure there might be some combinations that just gets out of hand, but you can easily just swap the power card, or whatever you want to call it, the little transparent card, with another one. So that looks super cool.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. And now that you mentioned it, I remember taking a look at this game, Misfit Heroes, and I was expecting it to be more like Heroes Wanted, where you start the game and you sort of make combinations. And I was thinking it would have that sort of same sense of humor, where you put things together that just become ridiculous, right? But interesting. And this one really plays it straight. Like it's not silly in the same sense. You can have some interesting combinations, but for the most part, they're trying to. They're not highlighting any kind of zaniness or absurdity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But real quick, other than that, there's other games and stuff. I did a lot of talking, making networks for the podcast, because I really wanted to get a lot of guests on the podcast. So stay tuned. I already have like 3 or 4 lined up at this point, which is going to be awesome.
Tremendous.
Kurt from Smirk and Dagger will be joining us. He just asked me to email him after a few weeks, which is probably now. And
yeah,
because he's on like
end of the show
he's going to go to Dice Tower West and stuff like that. So, which may have already happened by the time this episode's posted. I don't even know. Anyway, there's a bunch of people I'm going to have a guest. Other than that, I saw there's a new Cities coming out, which I thought was really cool.
The USA
one.
Yeah.
And there's also another game coming out from Adam's Apple Games. I like those guys. Gnomeville.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Gnomeville.
Gnomeville, yeah.
And seemed really cool to me. Like everybody has this little player board, and you're just trying to it's almost like putting things on your board. You're getting cards or whatever to put things on your board, and you have to this has to be next to this to get points, things like that. It just looked really cute and fun, and it's got imagery that my wife would like. So
there's one I'll mention that I'll try to mention. Actually, I can't be sure that this is the name, but I think it's called Elementary. And it's got the art by Sandra Tang. Did you see that one? Where you're trying to get kids to join you at your lunch table.
That's funny.
But it's basically like Liar's Dice, where you have a certain number of different kinds of food, and then you're saying, okay, well, I've got 4 hot dogs, and the next person could say, well, I've got 5 hot dogs, right? But you could also change what you're talking about and say, I've got 6 milk cartons. But at some point, someone's going to say, no, that's not true. Oh,
it's like Liar's Dice. Yeah.
Like Liar's Dice. Yeah. But it's got a cute theme to it and wonderful art.
Oh, that's cool. The last game I'll mention real quick is a game called Offshoots, just because I felt sympathy for this designer publisher. He self-titled this not self-titled. He self-published his this dexterity game where you take these little pieces they look like a dog bone, but they're actually like leaves, and you slot them together to build this tree. And it's a very simple Jenga style dexterity game where you're just taking a piece and adding it to the tree. And if it falls over, you're out type of deal. Right. Yeah. But what makes it really cool is he added some rules that make it really simple for kids. You can hold on to the tree base while you're putting the thing on. You can use two hands. It's not very restrictive, makes it really easy for kids to play it. And
it's gorgeous when it gets built up. It's gigantic and cool looking.
It is obscenely large. Like you're talking like 3 feet tall on a table and like a 3 to 4 feet, wingspan, to use a gaming term.
Yeah. It's impressive and it's fun. Yeah. It's fun to play.
Yeah. So, props to him. It's a really cool product. Is it an amazing game? It's a mass market dexterity game. I'm not going to play you and say this thing's amazing. It's like revolutionary, blah, blah. No, but it's fun. Yeah. And that's all that matters. And I think if you have kids, this is definitely a no brainer. You can get it on Amazon or so. I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon because he told me that somebody wrote a review. Well, before I say that, I asked how it was going because he's not really a board gamer. He's not into this industry. He said he's making contacts and trying to figure it out and everything. And I was like, man, all right, well, number one, don't pay for anybody to review your stuff, period. There's so many content creators that will do it for free at just the cost of sending them a copy. I am going to say this, and I hope that people share this podcast or whatever, but man, stop it. There's so many people that get into the YouTube stuff that think they're going to get into board gaming YouTube channels to make money. No, you're not. I mean, you might make some money, but what expense to people? These companies don't have, You
have to enjoy what you're doing.
You have to enjoy it, man. Just stop it. It's not going to be your job. I mean, it's like trying to draft into the NBA or something. The very few people are doing it on that level. But with that being said, though, I told him, don't pay for content. Just put it out there. It's your game can hit a mass market audience. So if you're putting it on channels that are really targeting heavy Euro gamers and stuff, you got to find kids channels. You got to find family game channels and stuff and for people to review it there. But anyway, he was like, yeah. And some people are kind of mean, right? And I'm like, well, that's the internet. And he said somebody left a review on his Amazon product and gave it a 1 star and said, it'd be better if these were made of wood. The whole thing is made of wood. What are you talking about? It says it on the thing. I think people are they hit themselves in the head too hard when they were younger and it was wild.
The whole thing is made out of wood, obviously.
It says it on there, like 72 wooden pieces or something. It's like, oh, that's wild. I noticed that as I walked up to his booth. So
that's somebody trolling. Yeah.
I actually think they wanted a refund and stuff and sent the game back. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But anyway, check that out.
He's a small independent publisher.
Yeah.
Let me give one more shout out before we close out Gamma to a large publisher, which is Capstone Games. They've got an incredible lineup coming up. They've got Prague Unseen,
and we got a game we're going to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, they've got Papiria, which I think is an incredible game. They have Quebec, and they have one that I won't get the name right, but it's a sequel, not a sequel. It's a spiritual sequel in a sense. It's in the same line, I'll say that, as Galileo Galilei, and so it's some guy's name.
And Kepler, Tycho Brahe.
No. It's
Kepler.
No. It's not a space scientist. It is a
space scientist.
It is a. I can't talk right now because I'm really trying to think of this person's name.
Einstein.
Well, while you're thinking of
it's a naturalist. It's a.
Well, is it about
Darwin.
plants?
It's someone like Darwin, but it's not Darwin.
Well, a biologist.
Whatever. Look it up while we're talking.
Okay, fine.
But anyway, the one thing I will say is I talked to a Capstone about Stephens, which is a game we are reviewing later in this episode. And they're like, yeah, that just, a lot of people like it, but it just flew under the radar and no one really knew it exists, which I mean, I don't know. So many games come out each year. If you're new to board gaming, between 700 and 1,000 board games are published every year because everybody thinks they're good at it. And they're not. But there's a lot of games that come out that are really good. And James is just laughing.
You're killing me.
I'm a realist, man. I'm not going to, if 1,000 products come out in a very specific industry like board gaming, you're going to have a lot of, the cream rises to the top, right? And you're going to have a lot that is good, but maybe they could use some polish. And then you're going to have so many games from these aspiring people that just don't really do their market research or go into it super heavily. And they think they got something good, but they never, it's like people that try out for American Idol, right? All my friends say I'm a good singer. Yeah, because they're not going to lie. They don't want to,
yeah.
They lie to you so they don't hurt your feelings. Anyway, play test the crap out of your game. Make sure it's something special. Go ahead,
I
George.
found it. Carl Linné.
I don't know who
the
that
name
is.
of the game.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Well,
either.
he's he's a natural scientist, one of the earlier ones who just categorized plants and animals. So there you go. But the game itself is great. So it's sort of along the lines of forestry and some of the others that I've enjoyed. Capstone has a great lineup coming.
Well, awesome. Let's move on to James and tell us what you've been up to. Give us a little bit of highlights, and then we'll move around the table from George and then me, and then we'll move on with the rest of the episode.
But just real quick, I did put Misfit Heroes on my wish list for Origins there to check out because that's definitely a game. I didn't know that existed, so yeah, I'm glad to hear that one. Lately, I have every copy and version of Clank known to man. Clank in Space, Clank Catacombs. I have the 2 legacy games. One I'm still trying to get through with friends, and one's not been open yet. So I'm like, I don't think I need. We'll ignore the legacy versions. I don't need 3 copies of Clank. I don't think. So I was like, Direwolf has this fantastic companion app where you can play solo, have a solo campaign. So this past week, that's what I did, Clank in Space. And I'm like, no, this is the one I'm going to keep because it's really good. I mean, I don't know if you all like Clank or not. Some of you might have, some people might hate
Clank.
it. Yeah,
I enjoy it.
So, but I'm afraid I've got Catacombs ready to go on its solo campaign. I'm thinking, I bet I'm going to like this one and say, no, this is the one I'm going to keep. So I don't know what I like Vanilla Clank, but I think I like Clank in Space better. I've got all the expansions, all the games. I'm just like, I don't need.
You got to narrow it down.
Yeah, 3 versions of Clank. I mean, I like having them, but it's like, do I really need? They're all pretty much the same thing. They're just a little differently tweaked. I mean, Clank in Space has got the humor and stuff like that and the modular boards. And it actually fixes the problem of rushing into the bottom and getting a treasure and rushing back out. You have to unlock a certain area before you can go get a treasure.
Yeah.
So, I like that. The only problem is I'm doing those boards. You're going to eventually just tear up the cardboard trying to pop those modular boards back and forth. And I already saw that just with 6 plays of it in a row. So, yeah, Clank Catacombs is next. Going to go through that campaign to see, and I'm going to try to figure out which one I want to keep and the other 2 to sell. But that's mainly those. My game group, we've been playing older games, like we just played Side last night. So that's one of my favorite games of all time. And we haven't really gotten any new games really recently. It's March already, and I think I have a handful, but not many new 2026 games. But the only other thing I want to say is for those BGA people who make BGA games, I'm going on a little mini rant here. I really appreciate you creating these games for BGA, but for all that's good in this world, put a undo button in there. Tim and Sierra and I are playing this Doritos game. I don't know what it's called. This card
I call
game.
it Doritos too.
And I click on the wrong card to discard, and I can't undo it.
It's definitely unforgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, crap. I mean, I wanted that card, and
it doesn't reveal any information. It would be like laying a card on a grid in front of you and be like, no, I actually want it in this spot.
Yeah.
Too bad. You clicked
I know,
this.
that's what it was. It's like, dang it. I was like, well, crap. So yeah, always put an undo, especially like you said, if it's not revealing something that you can't take back, you should have a undo no matter what. And that's just the worst thing on Board Game Arena. You're trying to learn a game. You're like, well, maybe I'll buy this one, and I can't undo that. I just messed up everything, and now Tim and Sierra are going to win this Doritos game, and I'm not.
I think it's like Dozito or something.
Yeah, something weird like that.
Oh my gosh.
It's nothing
George,
Doritos.
I don't know if you like it. It's like you have a 4x4 grid of cards in front of you. And so each space is, 1 through 12 or 4, 8, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you draw a card and maybe it's 12. Is it 12? No, I think it's 4x4.
I don't remember.
Let's just pretend it's 4x4. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the way the game is played. You draw a card and it has a number. It might be 6, but the card's blue. So you're like, okay, I'll take that, and you put it in that spot. Well, at the end of the game, you get points for contiguous areas of cards. And so now it's like, well, I need the 5 blue so I can combine it with the 4 and the 3, or whatever the orientation on your board would be. It's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah, and one of the cards I had that would score in the end, I accidentally threw away because I didn't know what I was doing at the beginning. And again, there's no undo. I was like, I didn't mean to do that, and
but now
there goes Tim taking my card.
Playing some of these BGA games asynchronously, especially small games, I do recommend playing them in real time.
Yes,
because we played For Sale, which is an older game. And it was 3 months long. Not really, but
I don't like bidding games. So
I've not done any of that.
It seemed longer because it's a bidding game. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, you could play the game in 15 minutes, and it took us 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I've never done the asynchronous on BGA. I've only played it.
I love it. Yeah, I always have 15 games going or something. That's great.
I have a buddy in Seattle, and he just invites me to these crazy wackadoodle games. I'm like, I feel bad because I try to learn them, and then he's got them all memorized, and I'm just clicking. I was like, well, that looks okay. I'll click that. I'm trying to learn it that way, and it's just not working, and they beat the snot out of me. But yeah, that's me.
You just pumping up his average.
Yeah. All right, George,
playing Clank and griping about BGA.
Give us some highlights, George. What you got?
All right, recent plays. A big highlight is a game that is new. It's called Fest Season. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
Okay, well, it's by Green Astra Games. The designer is Louis Viega, and he, I think it might be his first game actually, but it's really good. You have a season where all the players are trying to put together music festivals. And so you're getting stages and you're putting them out on your board, and then you're getting acts of different kinds to go play in these. And the one thing I actually didn't enjoy very, very much, it has punny names for the bands. So you have Pearl Marmalade instead of Pearl Jam, that kind of thing. And I just think, okay.
I thought that's funny. That's clever.
Okay. All right.
I mean, because they'd have to pay for the licensing and stuff if they were going to put real
well, that's a good
bands
point. That's fair. Yeah. So, okay. But I just thought it was a little silly, but okay. but then you have these sliders on the board, and you move a slider to do an action. And when the sliders hit the top of the where as far as they can go, then that signals the end of the round, and there's a reset period. So that's just a really cool way to do it. And when you move a slider, you take your action. You can choose if you're going to do the action one way, just yourself, or you could do a different action with that same slider, but then everybody else gets to follow and get a benefit themselves. So it's your choice as to which of those happens. And it really works out well. The game, it was elegant. It was really nice. I was surprised.
Cool.
Yeah. Festival season. Oh, sorry. And then the other thing I'll mention is maybe to tie us into our discussion later, a game that
full of
I played.
AI art. Or classic.
Not that discussion. The classic discussion. This is a new classic because I played 22 games of this in a row.
Oh my gosh. So is it 3 minutes long?
No. I mean, it's long enough, but it's an incredible game. Bomb Busters.
Oh.
I've
heard good things about it.
Addictive, absolutely addictive, and so much fun. We were on a roll. It was great.
Well, cool.
Bomb Busters. Definitely check that one out. What is that? Who makes Bomb Busters? Hang on, I'll find out.
Well,
wasn't prepared.
We'll do it live.
That's right. Because a game that I can play
you
that
look it
many
up
times in a row definitely needs a shout out for actually who is responsible. It is no.
Welcome to live broadcasting.
Hasashi Hayashi
It's
is
not.
the designer. And it says cocktail games. I know that's not right. Oh, it's Pegasus Spiel. Sorry,
Oh,
Pegasus. It's Pegasus Spiel.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'll highlight 3 games I played recently that was really fun. One is Postcards, which James, have you tried that out?
No.
Look it up. It's called Postcards. It's
Is that the one where you're in France?
Well, yeah. Well, is it France? Yeah, I guess you are in France, or at least in that region. But it kind of reminds me of Trekking the World, where like that weight of game. You get these postcards, and you're trying to put stamps on there. You're moving between the regions on your bike or whatever, and then each of those regions have these different little camping spots that you can stay at. And when you camp there, you can actually put a camp token off your player board onto one of those postcards to activate special abilities, or you can play cards to put stamps on your postcards. And when you go to the correct region for this postcard, you can send it off, right? And you just get points. When you send a postcard, you get these little end game scoring things. And, you know, maybe it's like set collection, or maybe it's like for however many of this thing that you got or whatever. And it's a very Trekking the World weight game.
Yeah.
They're different feel, but similar feel, if that makes sense. Like different gameplay, but a similar feel, scratching the same itch, so to speak. I thought it was really enjoyable. I did see it at Gamma. So I don't know if it's actually published yet and has copies out there, or if it's coming out.
Yeah, just now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
and it's attractive. It's an attractive game, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Check that out.
Yeah, Postcards, really good. Another one I played is called Space Lab. Have you guys heard of that one? It's a little card game.
Nope.
Nope.
This is pretty cool, man. Like when you on your turn, you can choose to like draw cards or take cards from the discard pile. And when you take cards from the discard, you choose a color. There's 3 different colors and you get all those cards. But when you when you draw cards from the deck, you flip out so many and you take just the same way. You take either yellow, blue, or red, or green, or whatever. And you're playing these cards in front of you, and you're playing them kind of like in a square, in a plus pattern, because you have these like little space lab things, 3 tokens, and you're putting a card above, below, to the left, and to the right. But the one in the right will share that card is shared with the space lab to the left and to the right of it. So, so it's like you got 4 plus signs, but they intersect each other. I don't know how else to explain it. If you look it up, it makes sense. And you're trying to put them in the right places, right? So like maybe that space lab says you need 2 yellow and a red, but your space lab in the middle says you need a red and 2 blue or green or whatever. And so like, obviously you want to put a red in between them because it'll count towards both. And if you meet all the requirements on a space lab, it flips over and you get points or whatever. And it just is a really simple card game. When you're playing it, you can draw these like scoring cards as well. And it might be like you get points for all your scientists, or you get points for all your astronauts and stuff like that. Very quick game, very light and simple, but it's a good card game. I like it a lot. And the last one I'm going to say is I think we've talked about Revive in the past, but I finally got to play the expansion.
Oh.
And I will say the expansion is I can take it or leave it.
Is that the that's the game Ireland map?
Everything about it. What?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of Rebirth. Sorry.
No.
Revive. Great game.
Revive, there's all these tiles and you're rebuilding. You're basically exploring and putting out people on the cities, or you're putting out.
Yeah.
You're putting out these, what are the other things? The buildings that you're putting out, and you're going up on these tracks on your player board. And the main mechanism of the game is you're playing these cards, and you either play it for the top or bottom, but you slot them into the top or bottom of your player board, things like that.
And there's an area of the map that looks like a bunch of like pod monsters are on there.
Yeah. Those are like the way the game gets triggered at the end, because those are artifacts. You take them.
Right.
Well, anyway, the expansion adds another board score track to the left of the board. And when you go down on it, you have the ability to get, it's called the Abyss. And you have the ability to get like Abyss cards or whatever they're called, but they're basically more powerful versions of normal cards. And there's some other stuff it adds. I mean, to me, it just seems like it's neat and it's cool. The game didn't really need an expansion, but the expansion is good. So if somebody says, let's play the expansion. All right. If somebody says, don't play the expansion. all right. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it doesn't add that much to the game. It does change some things, and those cards get a little bit more powerful. So maybe like scoring will go up a little bit. And there's some really cool, what are they called? Machines that go on your player board. There's like single uses. So once you put an energy token on it, it'll blow it up, but it's really good.
Oh,
like there's some like different things like that. And it's fine. The new tribe boards that you can get are neat as well. Some of them you can play with the base game. Some of them you have to be playing with the Abyss stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could kind of look at them and decide. I mean, I'd probably play it with the expansion regardless, just because it adds a lot of variety with the tribes, because it adds like double the amount of tribes. Essentially, I think he adds 4 new boards, and each of those have a day and night side. So there's a lot there. But in the end, though, I think if you already own it, it's kind of dumb not to buy the expansion because it's good, but you don't have to play it with the expansion. It's not revolutionary. It's not, making everything. The game was great as is. If that makes sense. It didn't need to be.
It is.
Yeah. It didn't need to be greater, I guess. The expansion is called Call of the Abyss is what it is.
I think I own it. Wow. Okay.
The expansion?
The expansion. Yeah. It says wait a minute. Let me see if I own it. Huh.
Oh, nice. There you go.
I haven't played with it yet, but I guess I own it.
Yeah. There's a couple new tiles they get added to these lakes, and they kind of have blocking, so you can't build through them. You have to go around it and stuff. And there's some more machine tokens, some slot modules, new citizens, 4 new trabs. So the biggest thing is these, it's called Cyphos cards. And those are great. Those are the things that are like a lot better versions of the cards already in the game. But like I said, if you already got it, go buy it. If you don't, if you like the game how it is and you played it a lot, it'll add a little bit to change it up a bit, but it's not necessary, but it's affordable enough to just go ahead and own it.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to highlight. We're going to move on to something we haven't talked about in a while, and it's the news. Ding, 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 ding. No, I was kidding. I don't know. Maybe I'll cut that and put something real, or I'll just put some effects on my voice and make it sound funny. What we're going to talk about right now is Ryan Dancey of AEG made a comment. He was responding to somebody. Everybody got really mad. I don't know how much you all follow this, but we're just going to read off his comments and talk about it for a few minutes, and we'll go from there. So his comments, here we go. He responded to this guy, and the guy said, quote, "Baffles me why people think AI should be included in any serious business when it's like the Office 4-year-old. So that's the context in which he is replying to, okay? He says, because 3 years ago, it was essentially nothing but a curiosity. Now it's useful, but in limited cases. In a year or two, it will be as useful as a new hire. A year or two after that, it will be as useful as an experienced employee in any field for a few dollars a day in costs. 15 years ago, the best humans could beat any computer playing chess. 10 years ago, a human checking the work of the best chess playing computer could beat the best human. Today, the best humans cannot beat a chess playing computer. This is what's happening with AI, except the time frame is months, not years. I have zero reason to believe that an AI couldn't come up with Tiny Towns or Flip 7 or Cubidos." Pause real quick. That's right there is the reason why most people are mad, but let's continue. "I can prompt any of the several AIs right now and get ideas for games as good as those. The gaming industry doesn't exist because humans create otherwise unobtainable ideas. It exists because many, many previous games exist, feed into the minds of designers who produce new variants on those themes. People then apply risk capital against those ideas to see if there's a product market fit. Sometimes there is, and sometimes there is not. In fact, much more often than not. Extremely occasionally, twice in my lifetime with D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, and Magic the Gathering, a human has produced an all-new form of gaming entertainment. Those moments are so rare and incandescent that they echo across decades. Game publishing isn't an industry of unique special ideas. It's an industry about execution, marketing, and attention to detail. All things AI is great at." So the reason people are really mad at this is because he said, remember, this is AEG. They publish Well, they don't publish Flip 7, right? Isn't that the op?
That's the op, yeah.
Yeah. But they publish Tiny Towns and Cubidos. And he's basically saying,
oh no.
Well, okay, first off,
he's saying our games could have been made by AI.
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, he said, I can prompt several AIs right now and get ideas for games as good as those.
Ouch.
But he's not wrong.
But yeah, I'm thinking he's talking about how, because they're not heavy games. I mean, I like all three of those games, but they're not heavy. So I think that's what he means. Not that they're crap. The AI can just put out anything. I think it's just because he's saying it's not going to spit out a Gloomhaven. It's going to, could spit out a Cubidos instead, which again, it's a simple game and it's an enjoyable game. And I think that's what his point is.
Well, let's be clear. It's not going to spit out a game, period. No. It's going to give an idea. Game ideas can come from anywhere.
They can come from anywhere. But I think what he's saying is right now, it may not be able to do some of these things like spit out a game, but eventually it will.
He's saying that. And I think his timeline is a bit off. I don't think it's a matter of days or months.
Well, he's saying a couple of years. I mean, he's saying within every month that go by, stuff gets a lot, AI gets more and more advanced. So
yes.
I think it's happening faster than you think.
I think so too.
Photography is really good now, and the videos that they can create are really good compared to even a year ago.
Yes, they've definitely made progress.
But yeah,
but I see his point that there's special use cases, right?
I feel like that last sentence or stuff got him in trouble with AEG. It more or less said he could just run a company and make board games from AI.
Well, okay, here's the thing though. Okay, this guy, and let me just to be fair, let me do the John Zenser, who is at AEG, and he's like a co-owner or something. I don't know all the specifics, but he says, today, I want to share that Ryan Dancey and AEG have parted ways. This is not an easy post to write. Ryan is my best friend and has been a significant part of AEG's story, and I'm personally grateful for the years of work, passion, and intensity he brought to the company we have built together. As AEG moves on to its next chapter, leadership alignment and clarity matter more than ever. This transition reflects that reality. Our commitment to our designers, partners, retailers, and players remains unchanged. We will continue building great games through collaboration, creativity, and trust. I expect Ryan will have much success in whatever he builds next. So they let him go the same day that he posts this. And it's because the board gaming world got so incredibly controversial over the topic and absolutely, in my personal opinion, overstepped its bounds, because the internet is not an army, but we treat it like such. This guy is 100% correct. He said nothing incorrect, period. It's almost not even an opinion, it's a matter of fact. AI will disrupt everything, and it has been. It will be able to create games. It will be able to create anything creative, period. Now, because it's ripping people off and because it's grabbing everything, but the irony, and by the way, we're going to go deep into this topic on another episode in the future with my brother, because he has a lot of experience in this. But from a technology standpoint, AI is incredibly useful. From a creative standpoint, AI is incredibly theft ridden.
Right. What it does is it pulls things from everybody else to make. That's because my wife is running into that with creativity. She's like, well, if I use AI, all it's doing is pulling something from somebody else. So is it copyrighted? I don't know, because
you can't copyright AI art.
Well, I mean, but the art is pulling from something that might be copyrighted.
True. But to use devil advocate, right? AI art says, here's 1,500 pieces of art. I'm going to create an art based on that. The human mind says, hey, I looked at 1,500 pieces of art. I'm going to make something that's kind of similar. It's doing the exact same thing that humans are doing, but in some regard, it has been known, especially older versions of AI, where it will like copy things. But the thing is, that's old stuff. Here's the transformation of people's responses on the internet. AI is so stupid. It's giving people 6 fingers. When's the last time you heard that?
It's been a while. That's what I said. It's improved greatly since
like
then.
have you seen Will Smith eating spaghetti? I'm just saying, when you saw that from the past and you saw it today, it looks real. It looks like it actually was filmed. It's scary. I agree. But everything he's saying is perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something really cool. Here's my Chat GPT. I said, hey, Chat GPT, can you design me a game similar to the card game Flip 7? Please include only cards, a press your luck style gameplay element, maybe some player interaction. Keep the deck of cards below 80 cards and set a goal length of play to about 15 minutes. Here's your game, Stack Attack.
Have you tried the game?
Attack.
I have not. I have to print this crap out.
Okay.
72 cards, 15 minutes, 2 to 6 players, fast, escalating tension, shared deck, player interaction, simple rules. There's 72 cards, right? There's all the 1 through 4 numbers are 8 copies of each. 5 to 6 have 6 copies. The number 7 has 6 copies. Number 8 has 6 copies. Why didn't I just compare all that? Whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
So 5 through 8 have 6 copies of each. There's some action cards. You can play on your turn. You flip a card or whatever. You can steal a card from other players. You can swap with somebody. You can freeze them, which immediately ends your turn, but you bank, right? And you can burn, which forces a player to flip an extra card. And so the objective is to be the first person to 50 points or have the most after 3 rounds. Core mechanism: don't double. On your turn, flip cards. Basically, it's Flip 7 to some degree with this. You may stop whenever you want and bank your points, but if you ever flip a card that matches one you already have, you bust, right? Turn structure: flip a card. If it's a new number, add it. If it's a duplicate, you bust. If it's an action, resolve it. After resolving, you flip again, stop, or bank. So the difference is here, I think you just keep taking your turn, right? Which doesn't make any sense because of earlier, it says that you can steal cards. But if somebody's either stopped or banking, they wouldn't have any cards in front of them, I guess. Or maybe they would have them, but you don't bank until the end of the round. Anyway, here's the actions and what they do and stuff and why it works. Optional twist for more chaos. Expected game length, blah, blah, blah. As you read through this, you can see some flaws in what it's designing. But at the same time, a year from now, on ChatGPT 6 or 7 or whatever you want to say it, this could be flawless. It could design the game, play test it 1,000 times before it gives you the answer. Because here's the thing. If people aren't aware of this, there are so many designers who will program things into computers and have it run simulations to beta test their games before it even goes into play testing. It has been happening for years. So the thing is, if ChatGPT or an AI can design a game, mathematically process it like plays with fake computer AI components and AI players, and say, oh, okay, this works. I changed these things because of this reason, blah, blah, blah. Here's the output. Right. Then you run that through AI or maybe in the future, it ties into Midjourney or something. And it's like, oh, cool. You're designing this kind of game. What kind of art do you want? Bam. Here's the packaging too. Yeah. It's scary.
I won't disagree with you, but here's the thing. The AI that it has playtesting this game, AI doesn't derive enjoyment from games. It's going to be absolutely soulless. Mechanically, mathematically, it will work. But when you read AI generated text, and it's dead. Like, you don't care about it. When you hear AI generated, right? But have you played music, Flip 7? It's miserable.
I mean, I kind of disagree with you there. AI music is incredibly scary at this point.
Yeah.
It's actually annoying because what is happening.
Annoying. You hear it and it's AI and you go, I don't like this.
Man, I've heard some songs and I literally thought that it was a real band and it ended up being AI. They've got metal down to a T, because here's the thing with metal music. When you go into the studio, it's overproduced. It's like everything is like, you play the drums, you replace all the drum beats. Like you hardly hear real drums anymore. You hear samples of real drums, and the guitars, it's incredibly, especially metal. If it's like, they will knock each note down and produce it so heavily that it sounds digitized.
Okay, so the issue is that the music industry is so produced that it's soulless as well. Like,
well, I mean, and what I'm saying is it right now, AI does really well in certain categories, but it's just going to get better and better at doing the other categories as it goes along.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing like some funk or soul music and stuff, yeah, it's going to sound really crappy because it doesn't have that now. But in board games in the same way, right? So like small card games and things like that, you're saying it's soulless. It's a freaking card game. Blackjack doesn't have a soul, right? I mean,
yes,
steals
but
your
people
money.
don't connect to a lot of the games that really, you know, are very similar and very, you know, samey. And in the future, yes, you can have AI just produce 6 of those kinds of games for you, but no one's going to enjoy them. No one's going to care.
I disagree though, because I feel like Flip 7 is basically a little bit more than Blackjack. There's no theme. There's nothing there that actually makes it feel like anything. The feeling is the press your luck. Oh man, the gambly nature of flip me one more, flip me one more. If I typed a prompt and it made Flip 7 and I published Flip 7 and I claimed to be the designer, but I made it through AI, no one would know. No one would ever say it's soulless. You know what I mean?
Currently, yeah, because before Flip 7, there wasn't a Flip 7.
There's not a stack attack.
No, but there's a Flip 7, so everyone's going to say stack attack is basically Flip 7.
There's plenty of push your luck games.
Yeah, there is plenty of push your luck games.
Especially card push your luck games.
And who knows? Maybe if you do prompts all day long, eventually you'll be like, ooh, this is new.
I think that's probably what you need to do is just, you know, see what ideas sort of you can tweak as a human with a, you know, an ability to make something innovative. Then you can make that connection. But I don't think just the computers are going to. I don't know.
I feel like his point was missed. I think it was poorly worded, because I think he's trying to say games. There's not a wholly unique game made that often. They're all usually variants of all other ones, which is not bad. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I mean I've got 600 games, so I mean and a lot of them have do the same thing.
Yes.
So I think that's what he was saying, that hey, we're just reskinning different things.
Yeah, like every game
AI
is like
take our business and do it, but in the future might do it better and put us out of business. And I think AEG took that the wrong way, saying he was saying they were just making crappy games that repeat themselves over and over, which that's not what I think he meant. Because obviously, I mean, I like AEG. I've got a bunch of AEG games. I like them. So it's not, I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying, hey, there's no, you know, unique games out there. It's rare to have it like a Dominion or a Catan or something like that show up.
Well, to add on to that point, though, he was talking about new forms of entertainment. Dungeons and Dragons basically developed role-playing games.
Right. Magic
the Gathering developed and pioneered trading card games. I think it's an incredibly long way away from AI designing something that humans never thought of to be an entertainment thing.
Right.
I do not think it's very far away for AI to completely write, or at least get 80% or a prototype level of board gaming, maybe card games at first, and then it'll start going more than that. That's on the horizon. Like that might be the end of the year, that might be next year, but we will start seeing people develop or pushing prompts, making games. But then because AI isn't refined in this aspect, because it's AI's growing, a human will touch it, redevelop it, publish, or, go through some play testing, make sure things work, don't work, add them some things, blah, 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 reprompt the app and say, hey, I made these changes. What would you add in addition? And so it'll become a very big component to game design for some people, especially people that push things on Game Crafter and things like that, like self-publishing. But I will say that I think the internet has lost the one thing, and then we can close on this, but he was responding to this guy who says, baffles me why people think AI should be included in areas in any serious business when it's like the Office 4-year-old, because that's a stupid statement.
Right.
It is not an Office 4-year-old. It's not the kid that's in your office saying, hey guys, how about you do this for your marketing? How about you do this? No. AI is taking over large portions of industry and technology and marketing and campaigns. I mean, James is a DBA. He can count on that or comment on this. There's AI that can literally replace database administrators, because Susan from the front desk can literally prompt to say, hey, can you run a report and get me all this information. And it goes through your entire database and does that in a half a second.
Well, you just mix two different jobs there.
I was facetious to some degree.
DBA were a little bit different. I mean, IT, we use it as right now. AI is just a supercharged Google for me. Instead of me having to Google, say, hey, I need to find this, it'll actually give me a script to run, and 60% of the time it's wrong and I have to tweak it. But I mean, it still helps. It's quicker and easier to do that than to Google, because then it'll also, I can say, here, give me links to reference it. But yeah, that's not what I do. I don't gather data for people.
Well, I was being silly to some degree, but moral of the story is it's not a 4-year-old in the office.
Right. No, absolutely not.
It is much greater than that. And and Ryan was pointing out that fact, and he was, and unfortunately he pointed it out from a CEO of a company, or he's a CEO, is Chief Operating Officer, or was.
COO. Yeah.
And so he pushed it in such a way that says, hey, like I'm talking to a stakeholder meeting, right? And then the normies of the world are like, oh my God, he said that he hates their games suck and they're easy to make. And that's not what he was saying.
No, that's not what he was saying at all. But usually in those cases, though, there's more to it. If you're going to fire somebody, just one thing, it's usually more than that. They probably didn't like them or something. Yeah, there's usually something more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah.
AI is absolutely affecting everything, and will continue to do so, though. We're encouraged at my work to use AI, and as teachers, you might think, well, that might not be the best idea, but there's just so many things that AI can teachers are expected to do so much nowadays that you almost need AI to help you out, and you have a lesson plan, and you can say, hey, AI, here's my lesson plan. Take a look at this and tell me what principles of universal design for learning are incorporated in it currently that I can emphasize, and which ones might not be there that I need to think about, or how can I scaffold this, to make it more accessible to everyone in my classroom. Like it really is a useful tool. It is. It's just, but if you had a principal come out and say something like, our teachers they can't do anything that AI can do, that the AI can't do. So we're just we're going to have just AI teachers in a few years. That probably wouldn't go over very well.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, unless they refine it, there will be a transition period at best, Either way, one thing that AI can't do right now is design classics. And we're going to talk about what defines a classic, because it would have to come out with a game and just be out there forever before it would be determined a classic. So in the very first episode of the podcast, we had a thing that says, I think I clickbait the title a little bit too much, but it was like, what entitles Monopoly into being a classic? And this was with Matt and me. And we talked about, what made Monopoly a classic? Like, why is it considered a classic? And just to kind of talk about what we said on that episode is this was on April 6th of 2016. So by the way, this podcast will be 10 years old in 1 month.
Hey.
And so Matt will be on the podcast, by the way. I guess I haven't even told you guys this.
No, awesome. This is exciting.
He will be back on the podcast for our 10-year anniversary.
Great.
And we're going to go over some stuff. He's planning on coming over for a few weeks to play some games. And maybe I'll kind of tell you what games we're playing. So maybe, you guys can get those games to the table or digitally, or we can play them on Tabletop Simulator or something, so we can all discuss the same thing. Because I really like when all of us have played the same game, because it makes for better discussion. But
fantastic.
Matt said that people are emotional about their games and want their favorites to be classics. And he thinks classics are games that just held up over time. And, a lot of people call Monopoly timeless. And one thing we did do is look up the dictionary.com definition for this. And it says, judged over a period of time to be the highest quality and outstanding of its kind, a classic novel. I think board gaming, though, is a little bit different with classics than a lot of things, because one, literature has been around for a very long time, right? Movies has been out. I mean, board games have been out a long time, right? But board games from the designer board games perspective is probably from about late 90s and on, maybe mid 90s if you pick a few games here and there. So it's in its infancy as a media form of entertainment, right? And so when we talk about classics, when you talk about movies, there's cult classics, there's video games, you got retro classics, you got modern classics. There's all these like categories and stuff, but we really don't have that in board gaming. Have you ever heard anybody say, like I feel like a lot of people say a classic board game is anything that's not designer, that was mass market. You know what I mean? Like Sorry and Clue and Monopoly.
Well, I do think that most people, that's what they mean when they say that. It's almost, in the hobby, it's almost demeaning. But I do think the word classic, has that broader context that is also used by reviewers to mean something that is timeless and elegant and well regarded, right?
Yeah.
So it sort of has both meanings.
So let me provide real quick one last context. The Dice Tower on their Discord was saying this has already been out on the Dice Tower if you want to check out their YouTube and stuff. But mine's slightly different because the question was, how old does a game have to be considered a classic? And my response was, what defines a classic?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in the responses said things like 10 years. And some people said 20. But here's the interesting thing, though, because Agricola, I would consider a classic, but I'm gonna preface that with an asterisk, because Agricola is to me, it seems like a classic. It's a game that's been out so long. It's tried and true. It pioneered a way, or it carved a way through the snow, so to speak. And a lot of people play it. A lot of people mimicked it, all that stuff. It's not 20 years old. Came out in 2007. And so, like, I don't think age really matters, although I do think a classic should cross generations. So my question is, what defines a classic? Because I think there's also, and this was the asterisk I was saying, there's classic games of the past, right? Even though they're published today as well, like Monopoly. But then there's modern classics. And these are the games we talked about as designer games, stuff like Catan and further.
Sure.
But, I did some minor research on this when you brought it up. And I came up with 5 bullet points, or also criteria. And their endurance over time. The game remains regularly played decades, but some of modern classics won't fall. I would say maybe something has to fall 4 out of the 5 at least to be a classic. Influence, It invented or popularized a major mechanic. Recognition, the game is widely known outside of the board game community. Wide appeal, plays well with different groups, and continued commercial success, still in print, tournaments and stuff like that. And I would think, like, even though I hate this game, Cards Against Humanity probably would fall under a lot of that.
I swear I thought that's what you were going to say, because you said that so many times last episode.
Yeah, I hate that game. And it's just, but it follows, the influence of, it didn't invent that mechanic, but it popularized it. I mean, Apples to Apples was more like that mechanic.
I would say Apples to Apples is the classic, and Cards Against Humanity is not. The common person, if you said Cards Against Humanity, they would know that. They wouldn't know probably Apples to Apples.
I do agree with James. I think a lot of people, Cards Against Humanity has effectively stolen the trophy from Apples to Apples, metaphorically speaking, because so many people play it more than Apples to Apples. I feel like Apples is still sold, but
I would say the Cards Against Humanity is the classic, even though it's not like, Monopoly falls under that too. I don't really care for Monopoly, never really have, but I would consider that a classic. That's definitely a classic from whatever it was been in the 20s or something, 1920s, not the 2020s.
Okay,
I have to clarify that now.
I don't know that I agree with one of your criteria, though.
Which one?
That people outside of the hobby have to know of it.
No, I said there's 5 criteria, but I don't think it has to meet all 5 of them.
It doesn't have to meet all 5 of them, but I actually kind of agree with that to some degree. Because here's the thing. In movies, and this goes back to my thing, right? Because when people talk about classic board games, it's a big umbrella. I think we need to define classic in different ways. Modern classics, classics of the old, because in movies, what's a cult classic? It's a movie that not a lot of people know of, but a lot of people like it, right?
Sure.
But you wouldn't consider it a classic. But
then,
the Wizard.
Why wouldn't you?
Okay, Troll 2 is a cult classic. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, never seen it.
Yeah, I know.
Perfect example. And because Troll 2 is massively popular because it's rated as one of the worst movies ever made.
It's like got Jennifer Aniston in it.
I don't think so. That would make
one
sense.
Of those did.
That's a definer.
Yeah.
But it's a cult classic because it's so bad that it's good.
Sure.
Or stuff like Thanksgiving, which is a horror film. And it is awesome. It's so like ludicrous and stuff, but it's a cult classic because it's so well regarded and known by a subset of people, which is what a modern board gaming is. And so a classic would be like Wizard of Oz. It's a classic. Name a person who's never seen or who's never heard or seen the movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sure. Yes.
Except for most of Gen Z. But the point is, it crosses generations. Everybody who is a movie enthusiast on a review level or whatever has seen Wizard of Oz or Casablanca or whatever, insert name of old movie. That's good. And then if you start saying classics that are obscure that a lot of people consider classics, like Troll 2 or something like that, or some kind of cult classic, maybe even Pulp Fiction. Although I think Pulp Fiction has really started breaking those bounds and becoming just a classic film in the general sense. But it changed the names of everything. Monopoly, Wingspan. Dude, I promise you, I can ask everybody about Monopoly. Every single person I've talked to will know what it is. 9 out of 10 will not know what Wingspan is.
But
9 out of 10?
I would think there'd be
normal people who aren't into board gaming.
That's what leads me to when I was researching this, I was thinking there might be two forms of classic games.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm saying
classic and a board game community classic. Wingspan would fall under that second because it is a classic, I would think, because it popularized engine building and all that stuff. It became really popular. It's almost gone into mainstream, I would think. I mean, Settlers of Catan is definitely a classic because you'll see it in the backgrounds on TV shows and stuff. People playing.
Well, that's paid product placement. But I get what you're saying.
But I'm just saying, you'll see that, that's become like the Monopoly in the background. You'll see Catan or Ticket to Ride. I mean, Ticket to Ride's definitely another classic. But board game community classics, Gloomhaven's probably one. I would say Wingspan.
I would not consider Gloomhaven a classic ever.
I think there has to be a certain element of elegance to the game itself, which is why I don't think that you can say Cards Against Humanity is a classic. Like it has to be well regarded as well to be.
Well, that's not true though, because everyone hates Monopoly. You know what I mean?
But then there's like a billion versions of Monopoly out there. For every new hit show comes out, there's a Monopoly version. So
but I mean, there's a billion versions of Cards Against Humanity too.
Yeah, but I mean, I would consider Psy the classic within the board game community, but not overall classic.
And I guess that's what I was trying to get at, is because if we're just using the term classic, then I feel like if you look at every other media, right? Classic literature, everything that you can think of is old. Edgar Allan Poe, or Shakespeare. All these old literatures, right? If you think about movies and you say classic movies, what do you think about? Black and white movies, etc.
Our age group does.
Sure. But like you said, there is that term modern classic, and it's used all the time on blurbs on the back of books. People will say, this is a modern classic.
You're getting what my point is because no one uses those terms in board gaming. And I think we should. I agree with you. I think there's when people are talking, we should say modern classics when referring to board games that are things that came out in the designer era of board gaming.
Or call it a modern board game classic.
I guess, but it's just weird to me because it's like the dictionary term was talking about judged over a period of time. Well, I mean, for obviously that period of time is just kind of what's the time frame. And so that was what prompted this entire discussion, because what's,
since the 90s.
Right. But then that's weird because or sorry, you were saying something, but I was thinking something different. What I'm saying is, if we judge it by a time frame and you say so many years, then you get rid of things that I would consider classics, like Catan or Agricola or Ticket to Ride. Like those are, or maybe even Carcassonne, although I'm kind of iffy on that one. I feel like it's starting to kind of go away. You know what I mean? And so, but does selling copies actually matter? Because look at Monopoly. They consider it a classic, but how many people buy the base game of not Monopoly to play it? I think 99% of them get it as a gift for Christmas.
Yeah.
and then it's just assumed that you have to own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a really interesting thing. I think classic does mean something different for everyone, but I think in the board gaming space, we kind of do need to say modern classics.
Because in my mind, Castles of Burgundy is a classic, but I don't know if it definitely doesn't meet most of these criteria on my list.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a classic, but it's probably a modern classic. Because I'm starting to wonder if I'm just picking games that used to be in BGG top 10 as classics. I'm not going to say Brass.
Favorites are classics.
Yeah, I'm going to say Brass, Birmingham, Birmingham, or am I going to? I feel like that's what I'm just naming here.
It is kind of interesting because if you look at the top 100 on Board Game Geek, I don't think most of those I would ever consider it a classic. Even 10 years from now, I don't think they would be considered a classic. And the reason I say that is look at Puerto Rico. I consider that a classic.
Yes.
But then
it's one of the older ones.
Because it's old, right? But is that the defining characteristic? Because I can name thousands of games that are old. That
you mentioned innovation before.
Right. That's the one where you pick an action and everybody else follows, right? Yeah,
right, and that was one of the first ones to do that.
That innovated that system.
I don't think that's a classic. It's a good game, though.
Puerto Rico?
No, I meant innovation.
No.
Oh, no.
Well, you're talking about innovation. The innovation that it created.
That it has to have
somebody does an action, everybody follows that action.
Well, ironically, innovation did have innovation. But the point is, I see what you're saying. So Puerto Rico added the I do a move, you follow it type of thing.
Right.
Right. And so...
Right, because if that mechanic comes up in our game group, that's what we'll say. We'll say the Puerto Rico way of, you choose that action, everybody follows.
Right. And so then it comes down to like, well, okay, does the classic have to be something that was innovative, right? Look at Sorry. Sorry technically isn't innovative. Was it Parcheesi? So
yeah.
I mean, Parcheesi's not considered a classic. I think it's considered. I think it falls in the term of a classic board game, but only due to age. I don't think anyone plays Parcheesi. Like maybe a few people.
It's been a while.
I think you're quite wrong about that. I think there's a whole lot of people that play Parcheesi.
Maybe there is.
Around
maybe
the world? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Was Sorry the Pop-O-Matic? Is that what it innovated?
The Pop-O-Matic?
No, that was
Trouble.
Aggravation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that was the...
I thought it was Trouble.
Trouble, yes. The little Pop-O-Matic dice.
Yeah.
Thing.
Which was basically...
And you moved around and you knocked people... You try to get home.
Aggravation is that thing you're trying to put in the pieces before the timer runs out.
That was innovative because kids sucked at keeping dice, and that was just a way for them not to lose it.
Right.
Trouble and Aggravation are two names for the same game. And there's another name as well that I'm trying to think of right now, but I can't.
I mean, you're probably right. Yeah, Aggravation played the same way, but it didn't have the Pop-O-Matic,
Right. Showing my age.
Well, we don't have to go super deep into this much more, but it is interesting to think about the word classic and what defines it, because every board gamer that you speak to defines it differently, right? Do you define it by age? Do you define it by how many copies it's sold and how long it's being played?
Right. Yeah.
Because
and it comes up in conversation as well when you talk about newer games and you say, is it going to be a classic?
Yes.
Such as, for example, Earth. Earth has a follow mechanism, just like Puerto Rico, right? And people love that game, right?
I think they do too.
It be a classic?
I'm on the fence. I think once they stop making expansions for it, that will slowly die, but it'll be a bleed. It will take years and then it'll just go away.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have sustainability. I mean, I love Earth, but
it's a really awesome game.
I wouldn't consider it a classic.
I'll tell you one of the only games I've played in a very long time where I sat down and on the first play I said, "This is a classic." there's one that I can think of, and that was Splendor. The first time I played that game, I was like, holy crap, this is going to be huge and it's going to be everlasting.
But are you right? I mean, have you seen people playing Splendor recently?
I mean, it depends. Like, here's the problem with going to conventions and things like that is the plague of our board gaming world is what came out.
Right.
Oh, no, that came out 3 weeks ago. Pfft, whatever. I'm playing this one that doesn't come out until next month. It's this cult of the new BS that's really just taking things over and kind of ruining a lot of things. And so that's why I think a lot of board gaming companies are just kicking games out like it's, candy, because the game will come out, sell 2,000 to 5,000 copies. Bam, that game's done. Next game, 2,000, 5,000 copies. Oh, this one's stuck. I guess this is our evergreen. Great. Yeah. We're in, we're a company for the next 20 years now. And that's like just what's happening. And I don't mean this to crap on any designers or anything like that, because it really does suck that good games come out. They do really okay. And then they just die into oblivion. And some of the good ones 15 years later get reprinted. And then people, like, no joke, are like, have you seen this game? Oh my God, this looks great. Yeah, that came out like 20 years ago, guy. Like, did you not look this up? Like the board game world is just wild to me. And
what about this idea of reprinting the game, only making it so deluxeified and overproduced, like the new Labyrinth?
You mean Awaken Realms? Entire footprint. Yeah.
The Labyrinth that I have upstairs in my office right now.
I think.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, because
I think that's fine.
That game.
I think if you can still get the original game, I don't care. Now, if they're republishing a game or reprinting a game, just to keep it on the topic of classic. If you take a game,
maybe they're doing that because it's a classic,
right? I mean, Agricola, they redid Agricola. That's fine.
Right, they did.
I'm not buying it. Because I have Agricola, I have all kinds of crap for it, and it works for me. Like, I think the new one looks gorgeous. Just FYI, I don't care if it's AI art, blah 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 blah, whatever. It looks cool, right? And to me, that's it. It looks cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
they redid Puerto Rico as well.
They did. They're doing the Puerto Rico, whatever the number date on it is. And they redid, Castles of Burgundy. That looks awesome.
All right, maybe that's how something becomes a classic, if they republish it enough times.
Well,
if they, the problem would be if they're republishing a game that came out that was awesome. It was a Grail game, like Queen's Gambit or something, like Star Wars Queen's Gambit. If they republished that, Awaken Realms, and they made it deluxeified as crap, and it's like insane, it's like $500, but you can't go out and buy the original copy, I would have a problem with that. If Awaken Realms wants to massively overproduce a game and people want to pay $350 for a game, James, that's fine with me. You can do that. That's fine. It's your money, dude. It's your money. It will either work and they'll sell a lot of copies and continue to do it, or it won't. And, good for them, because people if they sell it, people want that, right? I mean, that's market. It's supply and demand. If there's no demand, then they stop doing it. So,
I mean, they're about to do that to Concordia, which I love that game, but I wouldn't know. I don't know if I'd call it a classic.
No, not yet. Give it enough time.
They're about to deluxify that Awaken Realms is. So, I mean, a big box, which it needs. But if you're going to make Splendor classic, you're going to have to say Azul too. I think that falls in that same vein. Yeah. And they both do have wide appeal. I mean, I'd say Splendor has probably a little more wider appeal than Azul, but Azul is like an old person game, and I love it, but
it's an old person game.
That's to me.
Well, speaking as an old person,
game. I think my grandmother would have loved Azul as much as I do. So I mean,
Azul already has 6 different versions. Does Splendor?
Well, yeah,
it's got 2, a dual version or something like that. Or
it's got Pokemon.
Does it?
Yeah, I own it. It was only published in Korea.
Marvel. It had Marvel.
Yeah, that's true. There's a Marvel one. Well, okay. Here's the thing. We're going to move on from this topic, and we're going to talk about 2 games, and we're going to discuss if those will become classics or not. The first game we're going to talk about is a game about making instruments, and that's Luthier. James, tell me how it's actually pronounced.
Luthier.
Whatever. America. Craft musical instruments for patrons through worker placement and hidden bidding. We're not going to go super detailed on how the game is played, and thank you all the people who posted their pictures on Board Game Geek that we can use. I will try to keep your names so that you get some credit here. But effectively, if I can find a picture that has everything, there's a player board, or there's a main board out in the middle, and players have these discs. And these discs represent the different family members in your Luthier family. And it just has a number on it, 1 through 5. You only start with so many, and you get some as the game progresses. You will play the game over 6 rounds. Basically, what you do is you're going to take an action marker, or sorry, one of these workers, if you will. You're going to place it face down on one of the main actions of the board or on your player board. After everybody has went round robin doing that over and over and over and over, and they've played all their discs, in player order, you're going to choose a space to activate. And that space is one of, like it could be out in the middle of the board, or it can be on your player board. But basically there's 4 major sections to the game. And one section is going to get you patrons. And these are effectively contracts. They want stuff. If you give them stuff, they give you points. There's another section that will give you instruments. If you get instruments, like I said, they will go towards these patrons. Maybe they want you to make a piano type of instrument or something, right? Or a woodwind instrument, or maybe a violin or whatever. So you can get instrument cards. There's another space on there that will allow you to, or another action space that allows you to get cards to do performances. And these performances have a range on it, and you will be rolling some dice and adding some other things. And if you do good, best, what is it? You do normal, better, best, I guess. There's 3 ranks that you can do based on how many music notes you end up having, and you'll get stuff from that. And the last thing is it allows you to repair instruments. And repairing instruments are basically like you pay resources to claim the card and get its rewards immediately. On your player board, you will be repairing instruments. So you'll be building them. So the cards will go from the left of your board to the right of your board. So you will be finishing them, you're roughing them out and then finishing them. And anytime you finish them, or anytime you do a performance or repair an instrument, you get to put these markers out on the orchestra board in the middle. And if you place if you build the instrument, like the actual instrument card, you get the best token there, which can't be trumped essentially. But if you're in one of those first chairs on any of those spaces, at the end of the game, you'll get progressive scoring. So if you have 5 out there, you'll get more than, 3 or whatever. There's some other tracks and some other actions on your boards and such. I'm not going to go super into it. There's a market where you can do some trading of money to buy things, or to, move up on these like little tracks that will give you basically special powers, but the special powers just allow you to do things with one action. You can repair or progress both your instrument cards rather than just one, things like that. So we'll talk more in detail about the game and mechanisms as we start talking about what we like, because I don't want to like inundate people with the rules of the game, but effectively just know that it's a game of hidden worker placement values. And when you activate a spot, all those tokens get flipped out, reordered based on the strength. So the highest number to the lowest number. If there's a tie, whoever went there first to put their token, so you're lower on the stack, you break the tie. And then those players get to take cards as they want, right? And so if you're lower in the stack, higher in the stack, and you went there later, or you put a really low worker down, a lot of the cards at that location might be taken, and it gives you less options, or you may have to take the secondary action of each space, which is usually like get a resource or do something really simple. And it's not as desirable as the main action. Although sometimes you really need that secondary thing. So, you might do that as you will. But that's basically the overview of the game. If I forgot anything that would be prevalent, just talk about it as we talk. But the last thing I am going to say, because we're going to start off on this, and it may be a negative point, which is the game has starting selections for your family. You get some cards from some of the different decks, like the instruments or patrons. and the families have different, not really powers, I guess, but different setups to them, how many resources you start with and such. This right alone knocks an entire point or more off the game for me.
Really?
Because you can get incredibly lucky with some of the setups, to the fact that you might be an entire round, because there's only 6 rounds in the game. You might be an entire round of actions ahead of other people just by your starting stuff.
Are you saying, wait a second. So the starting stuff that you get, you're saying if you're lucky enough that it coincides with your personal goals?
Not even that. There's one family that starts off with an instrument, right? On their right side of the board. Let's say you start off with an instrument that is the rare ones or whatever, the unique ones. Okay, you already started off on the right side of the board. The amount of extra resources it took for that to happen outweighs other people. On top of that, maybe your instrument is exactly what you need for your patron, but you got patrons and instruments that didn't match.
Yeah.
On top of that, your family might have resources that you start with that are usable for the instruments that you started with. Maybe the family you start with, the instruments you got require different resources, like, wood instead of bone or whatever. And I say this, I wish Brian was on this episode, because he was originally going to be a guest on here. He has played this game dozens of times at this point, and he can articulate this even further, and he hates it as much as I do. So,
okay.
I didn't notice that.
And on your other point, George, your personal goals can coincide with the public goals, which if you're the only person at the board, that's crazy as well.
Or they can work together with each other. That was my negative. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you got a personal goal that you collect these symbols and that symbol's out there already as a public goal, that gives you a leg up. I'm not saying that it's going to win you the game. I'm saying it gives you a leg up, and it's an unfair handicapped advantage.
It is, and I think it feels like a big deal in a game like this that has the amount of complexity and length that it has.
Yes. If the game was an hour, it almost wouldn't matter. Go ahead, James. You disagree?
I don't agree, because I didn't see that when we played our 4-player game. My group, I mean, everybody had one little advantage, but it all to me evened out. I mean, nobody had overpowered of somebody else, and there's always chances if, hey, these don't really match that well, my starting cards. You can always pivot and make it work, make something work.
Well, right,
and that's what the game is for. And there's tons of ways to score. It's not just. I mean, that's just to me that's a minor thing that. It's just trying to help you off the bat to get you started into the game.
Right. But if you start with a patron that wants a wind instrument, right, and then a wind performance or repair or another wind instrument or whatever, right, and you draw all the cards you draw, I think you draw 4 and you get to keep 2 or whatever, and you draw no wind instruments, think about it this way. In order for you to get wind instruments, you have to at least play a worker. Okay. So you're already 1 action down from any other player. Where if I start off with everything that matches up, you only have how many actions in the first round of the game? You have 3 actions, right? You got 3 workers.
Right.
You're a 33% down, or I'm 33% higher just in the first round. I'm not saying it will win you the game. I'm just saying from a math perspective, it's irritating to see that type of thing play out, because you get, and it's easily fixable, right? Like when you're drafting cards at the beginning, don't have uniques, right? Don't have any kind of uniques. Don't have the, whatever the patrons, the better patrons that are in there, that have like 3 steps or whatever. Like skip all those and set up.
I thought you started out with lower ones.
Maybe
the ones with just the ones.
But as far as I'm aware, you can start off with unique instruments, and that is a heavy leg up, because once you finish it, then you get to take one of those better actions at the orchestra table and get more stuff for it. And if you're that family that allows you to start off with the instrument on its finishing side, you only have to complete half the card to be able to get there. And so the amount of resources it takes for a basic instrument and a unique instrument to move it from the left to right might be 4 or 5 cubes. That's a lot. Maybe this is nitpicky to me. But I feel like to me, I do not like any part of the starting stuff. I just feel like there's no differences really between the families to most degree. It's very just underwhelming. And so why even have like randomized setup? Just give me some player goals and throw some cards out my way. You know what I mean? Like everybody should just start with the same crap.
I don't think it's a huge deal. I think that I agree with James. You can overcome it, and that's part of the game itself. All of these massive Euro games have this issue.
I mean, to me, it's like you getting mad that you can't outbid somebody for a card you really need to satisfy your patron because they outbid you. Well, it's the same thing. You're going to run into obstacles, and that's the name of the game there. You're just trying to, you have to learn to pivot a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't say every Euro game has this issue, but games such as this, where you have personal goals, sometimes you luck into things that just go together, and sometimes you don't, and you're coming from further behind.
I think we're talking about two things. I'm talking about player setup.
Yeah,
which I guess includes the player personal goals too. And
I agree with you, Tim. I do agree with you. It is an issue. It's definitely an issue.
I think
but I wouldn't discard the game as a result.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm just saying it knocked a full point off for me because it's I don't like the math behind it and how everybody is not there's a difference between starting on the same footing and having different player powers or starting with different resources. And there's another thing to say, okay, the things that you drafted, you got RNG'd, right, by the gods because you drew the wrong combination of cards and couldn't pick things that worked and synergized together. Whereas I over here did that. And what I'm saying, James, is I agree with you. I like the overcoming obstacle. The whole point of the bidding of the game is I need to anticipate what James or George is going to play on these action spaces and know the order they're going to be resolved. That's the gamble and the insight that you have to have in the game, because I look over at James and say, he doesn't have any instruments. He needs to get some. And so like that makes sense, right? Because everybody's playing that on an even footing. But starting the game with randomized components can either be really rewarding as a design, or it can be really frustrating for the player because it's like, I feel, and by the way, the games I played, I had all the greatest stuff. Everything synergized real well. So I'm coming from an aspect that I'm like, whoa, dude, I know this put me ahead by a few turns. And to me, that was really disappointing.
I mean, you make it sound like you're going to be having a hard time finding a wind instrument. No, there's a bunch of wind instruments in there. So you're going to get one eventually. You will get one eventually, but there's 6 rounds of the game. So if you get it in round 3, that's bad. That's huge. But I mean, I had enough. I think I satisfied. At that point, I would just go for a different patron. 4 or 5. Yeah, there's 3 slots. You can add another patron in there. I don't. I guess for me, it was such a non-issue that I didn't even notice it until you just brought it up. After I actually forgotten that that's what you did at the beginning. And it's just like, I mean, I haven't played as much as your brother, but I play solo and with a group, but none of us. We usually notice that stuff, so I guess we didn't notice that it was such a. I guess it comes down to one of these things where, like, there's another game. I'm drawing a blank. It's a Stefan Feld game. What'd you say?
Stefan
Feld.
Well, anyway, there's another game that had this similar thing where the player powers that you begin the game with didn't seem that bad until you really started playing the game more and more and more, and you're like, "Whoa, that one's broken." Right. And so some of these things might come down to repeated plays, because when you play with people and they get really good at the game, what's going to be the defining factor? Your starting crap. Because the starting thing is, if you get to start 20 feet forward in a race, in a foot race, who do you think is going to win between 2 equal opponents? Right. And so like, that's the thing is it going to be a big deal for most people? No, but I do think being critical and looking at a product and reviewing it from every aspect, I think that's a problem. I think this could really, I think the game could actually help to have like a prelude, like a Terraforming Mars prelude type of thing, which I guess the starting families are kind of like that to some degree, because you start with some resources, but it would feel a little bit better to have like a redefining of that starting stuff. But we can skip on that and move on to other things because there's a lot more points to get to.
Yeah. I agree with your point, Tim, to a degree for sure. I had the thought as well. But let's talk about something that's a real positive in the game, which is that you have these tokens that you put out, and it's blind. You don't know, who has put what, and then you're going to find it out. But I really like the fact that the players get to determine the order in which the worker placement spots are decided.
That is really fun. And it makes you want to look at other players' boards to be like, oh man, like I was saying earlier, I know James is really needing an instrument because he already put bidding spots on his board like he's going to finish them and he doesn't even have anything there. He gets to go first. So he's going to activate the instrument space, take an instrument, and then later start working on it. And so knowing that, if I need an instrument this round, I better be putting something high on there so I get first choice, right? Because it really sucks in this game if you don't get something you're going for.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's 6 rounds. If you screw up a round, you're toast.
Well, you feel it. You definitely feel it.
You
can come back, but
you can.
Yeah. You'll be kicking yourself. Yeah. But there's a whole layer to that process. It's not fixed. And so you have to think about, what order are they going to cause this to happen, which is really interesting.
What did you guys think about the game length for the game it is?
Too long.
I thought it was just right.
I'm going to go with the too long as well.
I didn't notice that it took that long. It did. You're like, it was one of those games. We enjoyed it so much. We're having a good time. Didn't realize that much time was passing. And I think it only took us like 2 hours, 2.5.
That's not bad.
Wow, that's quick.
That is really quick.
It was a game night, so we usually meet about 8 o'clock or 8:30. So we didn't get home at 1 o'clock in the morning. I got home before midnight. So
to me, it's weird because I'm not trying to redesign the game, but a feeling for me would be if this game was 5 rounds instead of 6. But at the same time, I don't feel like you get to do as much as I wish you could on each round of the game. So I almost wish you would just start off with all your workers and play 5 rounds. I don't know what I don't get this crap where games like Everdell and things are like, you play the game a little bit, here's another worker. You play the game a little bit, here's another worker. Like, to me, it's like, what? It actually makes the game drag out to me. Because
it makes the later rounds longer.
Yes, each round gets longer and longer and longer. And it's like, is it necessary? I'd rather it just be kind of like a better cadence.
So you're pointing out things that I really like about games. Like Everdell, that's what I like about gaining more workers later on. And you're doing more stuff. I actually
really like Everdell as well.
I don't like Everdell as well.
I don't like the opposite where there's...
It's in my top 10. I can't really fault it.
Like Speakeasy, you lose workers as you go along, and I don't like that. That's the part I didn't like about that game.
Hey, but it sounds like it gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah, that's just not fun.
I didn't know that. Do you lose them because they get shot?
Probably. It's
nice.
Yeah, because they're or getting arrested, I guess you can say.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I like that part where you're like, okay, I'm going to be getting this chip later on, so I can plan for that, and I'm going to be able to do more stuff, and it's going to help me more get my objectives. I don't know. I always like I like worker placement games or these type of worker games where you're getting more people as you go along. If you just get them after a certain round, or you're buying them to get more workers.
I like the buying part. I
like the fact that you get
sacrificing to get
extra
something.
chip. Sorry, Tim.
No, go ahead.
I like the fact that you get that extra chip later, and it's one that you can place and be sure to get the thing that you need to get.
Right.
That does help.
I mean, I usually don't like bidding games, but this and Furnace, I love this type of blind bidding thing like you're doing for each location.
Yeah.
And even though if you're not the top bidder, you're still going to get something. You might not get the card you want, or you'll get resources. And I think that's what I like about that stuff.
If you like these type of games, you should look up Lockup and also Farlight. Because they're very similar.
Lockup was okay, but it fell flat for me.
That's
I
fair.
don't know why. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I just it was like.
Well,
But
not
yeah.
every game's for everybody.
Right.
What about the components? Because obviously this game is incredibly deluxe. I don't think it really need it to be with the style of game it is. It's beautiful.
Right.
Components are really nice.
It's gorgeous.
But that box size, man, can we just like not do this anymore? It was like,
But how can you make it smaller? I mean, there's so much stuff. I don't know what you could do away with.
I mean,
what
that's fair.
I mean, it's not. I don't think you even have. Yeah, you have double layered player boards, but that has to be that way. You can't terraform Mars that board, or it's chintzy little paper.
I mean, I guess all the cards could be, a half a micron thick.
The board is gigantic. The art is unbelievably gorgeous.
Yes,
so
it is
well
very
done.
Yes, the art is amazing.
And if you have the deluxe version with the dice tower that
Makes the noise.
plays music when you drop the dice in, wow.
I didn't get that.
Here's the thing, that dice tower is absolutely amazing. My brother painted it and stuff, and it is fantastic. I don't use dice towers. I like to roll the dice, man. I don't that
Heck yeah, for that musical effect.
it's like doo-doo-doo. Yeah, it's really cool.
Great.
Super cool.
I'm tempted to buy the unique instrument pieces because they just they're not needed, obviously.
I mean, if you're already deep into having everything, you might as well.
But it almost costs as much as the game.
Oh, geez, yeah.
It's pretty expensive.
It's pretty cool. I think if you're into like music or if you're into instrument creation and things like that, I mean, this game is fantastic theme wise.
Yes.
Yes,
I was going to agree for sure.
100%.
The amount of research they put into this game is just tremendous.
I mean, I was in orchestra and all that stuff with trumpets, so it hits home with me, the theme. I mean, it's just, you recognize some of the patrons as,
like caricatures of real people or real
Beethoven and stuff like that.
Right.
And Strauss and all that. But it's the theme is amazing. It fits perfectly. And
yeah,
I love this game. I still don't know if it should be my number one from last year or not. It still bumps around in my head. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones I was afraid because I have a unfavorable or unpopular opinion about Galactic Cruise. I think it's overrated and it's a Lacerda wannabe, but I haven't played it in real life. I need to play it in real life. And this one seems like it wants to be a Lacerda, but I don't think it is. It's not even close to being. It's a lot easier than Lacerda games.
Well, that brings me to a good point. And one thing I wrote down. So BGG has a weight of 3.76. Do you agree?
No.
Do you think that's too low or?
I think that's too high.
Yeah, I think it's
that hard.
Incredibly high.
I do too.
I think
This
this
game is
is
not that hard.
2.5.
However,
it flows pretty well.
It flows very well. James, you had said that when you were playing it, you didn't feel the length.
Right.
And I said it was a long game, but honestly, I didn't feel the length when I was playing it either. Right. And I think that part of the reason I said it was long is because the teach was so long.
The teach isn't long.
Good God. And it's not because it's heavy. I'm not really sure what it is.
There's just so many things to do.
Yes, there's so many things to do. Every action space is even though you're just getting a card, all the action space has all these different things to them and why the cards matter, right? Because every card is completely different. The patrons are contracts, but you have to explain their gift system and how that works. And then the instruments, you have to explain how they get on both sides of your board. And then the performance, you have to explain how the dice rolling and how you can spin, which I will say another really cool thing about the game is that, whatever the tokens are that you can spend but it matters based on the action space, how those wilds are spent. What are those things again? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
I can't either.
Like the inspiration tokens or whatever they are.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
Well, anyway, it's a resource that you spend, but it acts differently on every space. And I thought that was really neat. And I like the performance thing. When I first saw this game and I heard that it has dice rolling, I thought of the game Abomination. And I hate that game. Like I do not like it at all because you can play this 3-hour game, and at the end you roll some dice and you get screwed, and now you lose the game, and it takes away everything that you've done the whole time. And I get it, play better, GG, whatever. Get more mitigation stuff, but I mitigate the crap out of it. In the end, I still rolled and couldn't mitigate my way out of it, whatever. In this game, it's almost like it doesn't matter, even if you don't roll well or you don't add a lot of points to your performance thing, you still get stuff. Right. The goal is to put the token out on the orchestra so that you get the first chairs. But maybe the first chairs that you're going for are all taken by like instrument tokens, and you can't bump them. So you're not going to get first chair anyway. So it's like, cool, I'll just roll and complete this so that I complete one of my patrons' little requirements. Any other big things you want to talk about before we wrap this one up?
Well, you had mentioned some other games that had the sort of blind bidding. What did you call it? What is this mechanism called anyway? Where you put things down face down and then reveal.
I mean, it's like it's a bidding. Yeah,
okay, blind bidding, like Furnace does it too.
Yeah, secret deployment, right? You put things out and then you find out what they are. So. I want to give a shout out to the Court of Miracles, because that is such a good one. Yeah, and it's so similar. Honestly, it has a very different theme, but it is a much faster game as well.
It is very fast. That game is fantastic. I like that game a lot. I forgot about that, man.
Give a shout out, Court of Miracles, good one.
All right, you want to do something? Oh, go ahead, James.
Oh, I was going to say I just played this. I played Luthier solo. We'll forget about Quarter Miracles.
Let's keep it on topic. Yeah, go ahead.
And no, I mean, I play a solo is really good, but multiplayer is so much better. I mean, I recommend it as solo play, but it has a good solo bot, but multiplayer just outshined it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do think this is
so much more fun.
So much interaction in this game.
Yes.
Great interaction. It is really fun.
And if you have the right group, you can chatter to each other like, hey, you better not go there, stuff like that. Or, hey, if you want to do this too, and stuff like that.
BGG ratings has it best at 3 with 63% of the vote, and best with 4 at 4. Well, of the people recommending at 4 has 46% of the vote, which is kind of ironic. They both have 71 votes. So it really sounds like it was a close tie. I think that 3-player got voted better only because the game is shorter.
You're right.
If I had to guess. Yeah. Because it does
probably
add a good amount of length per player. But I do think that if you're going to put the time into learning this game, you might as well just play it with 4 players. Because it really isn't that different with 3 and 4 players. For our group, it isn't. And I would expect a lot of people to be like that. And you're right, having more players just really makes the bidding process so much cooler for the outcomes. But it is a game that you do need to pay attention to the other players' boards. I like that. So do you all want to rate it? You want to do a rating? We haven't done that before, right? Yeah. We haven't actually given it a number. Let's give it a number.
Let's see.
A BGG number, like up to 10 as best, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, don't do the weird BGG scale. Like if it's an 8 on BGG, it's like godlike. It's a 10. But we're going to just rate 1 to 10, right? For me, I'm going to say this is a 7.
Oof.
It could be higher, but that starting stuff really just kind of irks me enough. The length grabs it down a little bit. I think if it had an expansion that came out with some reworking of that, it would easily be an 8. But I'm going to come in at a 7, which is solid. It's a solid game.
Okay, yeah.
George.
I think I'm going to give this, can I give it like a point something, or do I have to do?
I mean, let's just do the 0.5.
Yeah, okay.
8.32.
No, it's an 8.5. It's an 8.5 for me. The length just knocks it down just a bit for me. The length of the teach. So if this is a game that and you're going to play it a lot, and you're going to play it with the same people, and you don't have to teach it again, then it's a 9. It's or a 9 point something. Like it's really good. It really is. But I think I'm gonna lower it down for that, and also because of the just the imbalance in what your end game goals could be, and that just affects me more in a longer game. And then the last thing we haven't talked about, I don't understand the market. It's just a random thing. Like this turn, I have to pay so much more for this thing than last turn, and why? I don't know.
You always, and you make sure you always do the market every round.
I think the market's pretty cool, but
Yeah.
But it's
I do too.
random. It's random.
you can
that's market.
gamble, but that's the market, right? You can buy a ton of
That's
bone
not random.
and then
Markets are not random.
or metal or whatever it is, and then next buy it low and sell it high.
Right.
You know, you don't know what the market's going to do. You just got to speculate.
Okay, well, if and if the market would behave in ways that you would understand, it would just add so much fiddliness to the game. It would make it even longer. So really, it's probably best for me that it's not like that.
All right, James, pull us to the end.
I have to give it a 9. I mean, it's an excellent game. I didn't see any problems with like Tim does. I mean, it's not perfect, but it is excellent game. Now George has just made me forget everything I was going to say. I don't know why.
If you have the dice tower that makes sound, then it's a 9.
I don't have the dice tower. I didn't have that.
10.
But it'd be nice. But it's a 9. I mean, just looking at the pictures just makes me want to stop this podcast right now and pull it out and play it. I mean, it's just, and that's one of the indicators for me. I mean, if I look at it, it just brings me joy right off the bat. That's going to be a higher ranking for me. And it's just like, man, I need to get that back to the table, seeing the pictures. And it's just so much fun especially with multiplayers and interaction. It's fun. And just, you go in with a plan at the beginning, and it's most likely not going to be the plan you have at the end of the game. You're always, I love those type of games where something happens in the game. Well, it's going to make you change your plans, and it is what it is. And, it's just a fun game. I do like that kind of stuff. I like the bidding mechanic that you have, and I like just resource gathering. And it seems like everybody could do something. Usually those bidding games, there'll be a round where you just can't win anything, and it's just aggravating. This game is not like that. You're going to probably win one of the sections,
and even if you don't, you have a secondary action,
right? But I don't recall anybody ever losing. One round, somebody not winning something.
Yeah,
one of the areas. So I mean, you're going to win something, and it's not that punishing to you if you get outbid. And it's a fantastic game. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it is probably really expensive. I can't remember how much it was, but
I don't even factor cost into these things because that's up to you personally. I don't think
it's worth it to me.
Yeah,
and it just brings me, like I said, I base it a lot on good feelings that I see. If it brings me that much joy just seeing it, it's like, oh, I want to play it again. Just like when we were talking about Revive, it's like, man, I want to get that back out again.
Yeah,
because I like Revive a lot, and so I mean, it's just a great game.
All right,
it exceeded my expectations for it when I first saw it.
Yeah. That is Luthier, or give it. Say it again, Luthier.
Luthier.
And last up on the podcast, we're going to talk about a game by Cap. You know what? I didn't even tell you who the other one was about. But anyway, we're moving on. It doesn't matter. We're going to talk about a game from Capstone Games, and it is called Stephens. My name is Steven. It's called Stephens. And this is a game about a glass blower family. If you're not watching the actual videos, I put a picture up of that dog.
I was not ready. I was not ready for that.
Just look up Stephens meme and you'll see a dog, and he's got like basically like an overbite, and he's saying Steven. And it's anyway, every single time I hear the word Steven, I think of that meme. But anyway, the Stephens is a game by Capstone, and it's a game about a glass blowing family. But that basically is the theme, right? Glass blowing and stuff. In this game, though, there are these 6 spaces, and I'm not going to go over all the rules. I'm just going to very quickly say it. This is you craft stunning glass, outshine the competition, and become the town's top glassmaker. To do so, you'll be taking some actions, and when you take an action, you're either going to buy a card, and you're going to put it at, for lack of a better word, these factories or inside. What's that main thing with the foundry? Is it a factory too?
Foundry.
The foundry. There's the foundry, and it has these 4 spaces. Only 2 of them get cards. And then there's these factories above them, and those get cards. And when you buy a card, you'll pay whatever the card says, and you'll put it next to one of these action spaces, and you'll put one of your discs from your player board on that card. And that's going to be the master, right? That's a master worker or whatever. Some of these cards have secondary spots on them in which other players can put an apprentice. But the thing is, if they put an apprentice, only the master gets points at the end of the game for owning that card. But one of your other actions you can do is take a cube off of one of the foundry spaces or the factory spaces above and activate every card that's there. And so if you are a master or an apprentice, you get to activate that card. Everybody kind of does that simultaneous, and you get resources, or it gives you ways that you can trade things. So you can trade, was it prestige? What's the other? It's gold and well, whatever the two resources are. Influence, maybe?
Influence, yeah. I think that's what it was.
It's prestige or influence and money. And then you have cubes. And so like, it might be like spend this to get this, right? Or go up on this track or whatever. And so you can activate all those cards. So it's a little bit of an engine, because if you get a bunch of cards there, you can get gold, but you can also spend that gold to do the other cards to get up on this track or get, influence for it. And one of the other two spots there's one spot that will allow you to take these cards, which are, I guess, factories that you own, and they go on the right-hand side of your player board. And at the end of a round, whenever the round ends is triggered, and that gets triggered by like when so many of these foundry or factory spots are empty, or just the foundry spots of action cubes. And those will give you points, but they'll also generate cubes, and those cubes will you will put those on the factory spaces, and that's how the factories get cubes. So the foundry starts with some cubes, but the factories get cubes from the players and what they generate. Then there's other cards that will give you like in-game scoring opportunities, which is kind of like a math problem, right? So if you have 3 cards in a column times the number of resources they cost, that's how many points you're going to get. But at the end, when a round ends, there's this little cannon on the score track that will move closer to the player's points. And then as you get points, you go up the point track. And so the game does have a variable game length and when it ends. One very quick thing I will say before we start talking about the game is the player board is full of all these special abilities, these discs that are on your board. And as you're putting cards out into play in the main board, you're going to be putting these discs on there. And so it's a, which ability do I want to unlock when I take a disc off my board? One of the tracks, the influence track or whatever, is locked. And so you need to remove tokens off of it in order to progress around it as well. And so there's also end game scoring things, like you don't get points for however leftover gold you have at the end of the game, or maybe for the cubes and such, but you can unlock those scoring opportunities by moving those cubes or those discs off your board. And so, like I said, the game's going to continue. It's basically like buy some cards, put them out, activate spaces and do all the cards that are there. Or maybe you hope that another player will activate it, so you're doing other actions. And then eventually the round ends, you get some scoring, some things happen, you put cubes out, you're using those cubes from your factories to get rewards essentially. And then the next round is played by taking more action cubes off, but now you got those factories, you can take the action cubes off. So it's a little hard. It's a hard game to explain on a podcast, even if you watch the video. And I'll start and lead off with my opinion based on this one thing, is because there's really nothing else out there that does this. To me, this is a very unique design. Like it or hate it, it is very unique. It's kind of got its own thing going on. And it really does make me think, man, is this like a reprint of a game from like 2008? Like, this is a classic Euro. What do you think?
I agree.
Oh God. If by classic Euro you mean that you do the same thing over and over and you just barely make any headway and you never feel like you're producing any glass ever, then yeah.
There's a lot of decision. You are doing the same thing over and over. You are really just buying a card or activating a space. I mean, I guess in some regard, it's kind of a worker placement, but you are doing these engines, but these engines die off right? So like you play all these cards, you have a lot of these masters at like the foundry, but it stops getting activated as the game goes on. And because you want to start activating the factories that are above it, but it's much harder to put stuff there, but they're worth more points. So it's this like interesting kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd use the word dichotomy. James, give us some stuff.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I like engine builders, so it hit that sweet spot for me, especially since I was telling you all, it's a double engine builder because you're building one off the board, the main board, then your own personal engine builder for when the reset happens, you trigger that. And that's what fills the small factories, the second engine that everybody has on their personal board. So you're wanting everybody to have their own personal engines because it'll help you later on to pull from those small factories. But I would say I'd call it a hidden gem of 2024 for me because I didn't know it. I never heard of it until I went to Capstone Games and they had it on sale, and I was like, this looks interesting. And I don't recommend ever doing that because I'd say majority of the time they're duds that I buy when I buy games that I've never played and don't know about. But this one surprised me. I liked it. I mean, it's not a classic, and the art is not that good. I mean, it's just a brown and more grays and browns.
Furthers my classic Euro claim.
It fits right there in the Euro because it's just a bunch of browns and grays and
cubes.
And the cards of the people, they just look generic from whatever that it is. I mean,
couldn't the cubes be glass beads? Like what? Wouldn't that have been like more thematic?
More glassy?
Well,
the
clear
cubes?
window pane glasses. So I guess you could put the glass look like window panes for those, but it's more, I don't know. Your cell there at the beginning it's just a glass blowing game. It's based in Lisbon right after the major earthquake. And this is the third game I've had played with that theme. They're starting to make it the Cthulhu theme where everybody's just going to make it. It's based on the Lisbon right after the great earthquake in the 1800s. Lisboa and Mercado de Lisboa are the other two that are based on that theme. And that's what this guy is, a real life guy that bought this glass factory after that major disaster. And he helped out everybody making glass for them to rebuild the city. But there's not much to add. Like you said, it's very hard to describe. I mean, I do like how you're pulling your disc off to give you, everybody has in total the same powers if you take off those discs, but you decide which ones you want to take off at what time. And they give you the semi-async powers at that time. I mean, game breaking powers or in-game scoring powers, which I like that. I mean, it's not too much going on, but it's enough to itch that scratch.
You do
or scratch that itch.
You do decide which cubes to pull off in order to do an action or a series of actions.
Right.
But you're always going to choose the most cubes you can get. Like, you choose, but it's a bit obvious, your choice. Like
what are we talking about? I think are you referring to what James just said?
When you choose the factory and you pull off the cubes, if you can pull off 3 or 4 cubes at once, that's what you do.
Well, that's later in the game though.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But it kind of plays itself later in the game is what I'm saying.
Right.
Well, that part's not the main phase of the game, right? The main phase of the game is you take one cube and activate the factory and do all the cards next to it.
Right. That's right.
Until you can pull off more than one cube at a time, and then you always do that.
But it doesn't trigger that engine multiple times. It still just does it once.
Right. You're saying if you have the special ability on your player board that lets you take multiple cubes, you're still doing the action once and you're gaining those cubes, which are used for other things. I don't necessarily say I would agree that you're always just taking the 3 or 4.
Says the guy who always took 3 or 4.
No, because what was the rule? I can't remember now. There was a rule between taking 4 or 3. Didn't it stop something from happening? Like you could take 4, but if you take 3, you can activate a different factory because you do so or whatever.
No, if one of the furnaces were empty, you could trigger that one instead of taking the engine that you took the cubes from. If you took 3 or 4,
right? Yeah, one of the ones at the foundry you could.
Yeah, one of the foundry ones were empty. If you pulled 3 or 4 from one of the small factories, you could, instead of running that engine, which might help George, you want to trigger one of that empty furnace factory.
One that has more of your cards or whatever.
Yeah. And you never want to do the one that helps me. Like
right. Yeah. That's rule number 1.
Personal animosity right there, George.
This is an engine building game that I don't like them. I'll just be honest. I don't like that kind of game. And this is that times 2 at the same time.
Which makes it amazing.
It is definitely, I think that the core audience for this is, number 1, if you like engine building. Number 2,
right.
Not even just because engine building has long-term strategy to it, sort of. This has an even longer strategy because your engine starts to die off and then you're building another engine for late game.
Right.
And so it's like this really odd, and it's fine. I think it's really good, but you really don't know how the game is developing. I mean, you would have to play this so many times to be able to see that. And if it is a thing that's possible with 40 or 50 plays, then kudos to the designers, because that is some deep level of understanding of their design and what they're doing. I don't think most people are going to play it enough to really cherish that heavily. I think this is definitely a game I can see, if you listen to the rest of this episode, if you're just watching this video later on, this could be a cult classic or a hidden gem classic or something that a very subset of people are like, this is crazy good and misunderstood, right? I think it's a good game. I don't know. I have some problems with it. I think it is overwhelming on the amount of options you have to remove off your board, which makes you have to play it a bunch of times before you really start to understand like what I should be doing, what abilities should I be uncovering, and maybe that's good. I think as a game, the replayability to this is pretty high because it's going to be really different each play, but you're going to really have to like what's going on for that to be useful to you.
What you should be doing is you should always be striving to put your people as high up on the pyramid as you can. That's like, they're massive.
Yeah, because the cards that are higher up are worth more. Also, this is a game of piggybacking. You really got to know what other people are going to do or hope that they do, because if James is going to be activating this foundry space a bunch of times because he has 3 or 4 guys there, I'm just going to piggyback off of it. And I'm never going to activate it. I'm just going to let James do that.
Right.
I'm going to spend my actions doing other things. That is a very big mentality with this game.
The funny thing is, you say replayability. I don't think it does have that much of a replayability. I think it'll get samey after a while.
No. Okay, the game is very samey each time you play it, but I'm saying the replayability is more chess-like.
Right.
Where it's like you are doing the same thing over and over and over, but if you played it with some really good people who like tournament-style players, I can see this game being a really excellent thing for that, because it is very like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? I'm going to react to this. I'm going to piggyback off of this and blah, 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 blah. But the game is exactly the same. You play it once, you've played it 100 times.
Right.
Except you don't gain that experience. So the replayability isn't about the amount of things that change each time. It's about how the game unfolds each time. So not replayability as in, you got 3,000 cards and you go through 30 of them a game. Right. It's more replayability from like the chess or like a basketball or a football, right? All sports and things like that are just the exact same thing every time, but it's like watching the other players and how I don't know. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe I don't.
Makes sense.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not going to play it that many times.
I do think not enough people are going to appreciate it enough to go down that route. It's not that awesome of a game to warrant people spending a tremendous amount of times and plays to see if this is a tried and true game that's going to outlast the generation of gamers that are existing today. But it's a good game. If we want to rate it, I'm going to give it a 6.5, which sounds really crappy if you're watching the podcast because I gave Luthier a 7. It's just like, this is just slightly worse.
Yeah.
I guess maybe if in Board Game Geek terms, it'd be like a 6.3.
All right.
What are you guys rating it? George's going to half that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do I hear
Let's
a
hear it,
half?
George.
Do I hear a quarter?
I'm gonna give it. Sure, I'll give it a quarter. I'll give it a 5 1/4 because it's not for me, but it's a game. Like it's well designed for people who like that kind of thing. I can't score it high personally. I bounced really hard off of this game, and it didn't grab me. It didn't grab me as far as like the idea of making glass in Portugal. Sorry, it doesn't grab me.
No, that's fair. I did not get the theme at all. Like it might as well just not even have a theme.
Yeah,
right.
Which makes it a classic Euro.
Exactly.
But it is a classic Euro. I'll agree with you. Like it's a classic. Like just you're doing Euro-y things, and
yeah,
and it's not long. It's not long.
No.
I think there's a bit that makes it tricky to understand, or certainly hard to understand how to do well at it. For me. But other people might not feel that way. Yeah, but it's well designed for what it is.
All right, short and sweet, James. What you got?
I'm gonna say it's definitely a hidden gem of Capstone games, and if you could get it on sale, definitely get it, or at least try it. Definitely play a game. You need to play this game if you like Euros and engine builders. I thought I was going to actually go lower than Tim after all his glowing reviews, but I think I ding it a little bit because I don't think replayability is that high on this game, even though I like it. I enjoy it very much, but I'll give it a 7.5. I think it's a good game. It's not great. I don't think it's going to be a classic, but it's a good game, and I highly recommend people playing it. If you get a chance to play it if you like those type of games. If you don't like engine builders, this is definitely not for you. But it's a really good game. It's going to stay in my collection for a while. But it's not one of those that gives me great feelings when I look at it or anything, or really want to play it. Man, I want to play that. No, but if somebody says, "Hey, you want to play this?" Sure, let's do it. It's great. It's like Catherine. I don't know. The same Capstone Games does the game called Catherine. It's about the same feeling to me. It's a really good game, but it's not like a great game.
Yeah,
and I highly recommend it. If you
it's
haven't
quite
heard
unique.
of it.
It is quite unique.
It's unique. I'll give you
I
that.
can't think of another game that it feels like. Really,
yes, that's what I was going to say. If it would stay in my collection for that alone, because it is doing something that I've not seen in a Euro game, and that's really cool. I think it's really cool, and maybe that should bump it up a little bit more for me. But I don't know. I feel like it's a unique concept, but it's not. I don't know. I might go a little. I think 6.5 for me is pretty spot on.
It could probably stand for like a mini expansion or have async player boards. Maybe those powers be different for everybody.
That could be kind of neat. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, that is Stephens. Anyway, we're going to wrap up this episode. We want to thank you for tuning into episode 161 of the MeepleCore Gaming Podcast. This episode was recorded on March 14th, 2026. Send questions and concerns to her comments. I don't care about your concerns. Send them to MeepleCore@gmail.com. Follow MeepleCore on your favorite social media and YouTube.com/MeepleCore. Until next time, this is Tim Jennette, the Middle Meeple.
I care about your concerns. George Breden.
James Fitzgerald.
Keep on rocking and rolling dice.